Pull us out of purgatory. Serena spam incoming. Good evening, Club Cult. Welcome to Stream the Dreams Project. Thank you all oh so mucho for all of your support with Voya Bean's care costs. I'm a very grateful girly. A thank you. A thank you. A thank you. Connected. Let's hop into the Discord right quick. Then we're watching some games. I could update the board too. Discord, Discord, where are you? Serena wants to press buttons. There you are. Welcome's Dar. We found the source. I don't know where I was going with any of that, but we went places. Welcome Jay-Z, welcome Ghost. Oh no, don't haunt me. When you guys hop into the Discord, please do not forget to... I don't even know where to go. Green check, them their rules, and entry pass, and rules. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Welcome Mad Topher. No cosplay tonight. Time did not allow to put together anything outside of what was necessary today. So we're gonna blurp that over to Thursday. I'm a liar. I'm a disappointment. I don't know why, but it bothers me that I post that and then I get a notification for it. Oh, that's what Smoops was talking about. I don't think I've ever seen Richie's Italian Ice out here. I mostly see Lindy's in the store, but I don't really buy Italian Ice. Unless I have to fast, because that's one of the few, like, last things you can eat within a fast. Italian Ice is on the menu. I'm not really a fan of it, but when you're hungry, you're hungry. Can't be helped. Let's update the shboard. Thank you so much for the resub, The Unconfined, and thank you so much, Sidian, for the resub. Appreciate you, BBs. Uh-oh, what did I just run into? Oh, it's just the cord. I brought my heated blanket back up, but I plugged it in far away instead of at my desk because I was being very either lazy or efficient on time. I'm not sure which yet. One of the two. 6 of one or half dozen of the other. Serena is not pro at memorizing leet speak. I should by now, but no. There we are. Bootstrap Serena, you're a liar and you'll spend an eternity on this ship. I think I already signed up for that. Don't we see the barnacles and snails upon my shoulders? I already have a leaf on my chest. Welcome, Aiden. My menu is on my screen. It is on my screen. Do I pull up highlights or do I go to like 1.25 speed? I go to 1.25 speed. Commit to the bit.
Нормально. Все. Ребят, камбэк пошел от Монте на второй карте.
Some point here is the second map. Perhaps it already started. I don't know. I don't know where I started this at.
Подумал, поставлю бомбу. Хрен с ней, с осторожностью, с аккуратностью. Поставлю бомбу, сыграю на команду. Все такое.
Is there a VOD in English? Not that I mind it, but it's probably interesting. Round 3. Is that the full stream? That's from the other day. Bitch. Okay. Highlights. Approximately. Map 2. A little bit of recap.
This is a problem. Tess tries to throw in one so they can cross on through, but Modesty has been spammed.
Happy start of the week, everybody. Hope it's began kindly, wonderfully, as smoothly as possible. I hope everyone's Monday was properly lubed up.
B-Mass and Afro, the two top performers, get lined up and knocked down. It takes the full 20
Hi, Gunther. No, I thought to myself before I started stream, like, I really hope Gunther comes over. And here he is. Here he is to bless us with his presence. I forgot to see what you did earlier. You did it good. Did it good, Gunther.
Rolling around for Afro gets dirty. Double kill from him, 3 in the round. It gives me his every step of Carrigan. So this 8 play is.
I think Gunther needs to go in for a checkup. I saw him on camera when we weren't in here yesterday. And he laid down in the litter box again. And he's had kind of an upset tummy. But I would venture to guess that the upset tummy is stress colitis. Otherwise, maybe he contracted PB's coronavirus. I don't know, but he's an older gentleman. I want to double check and make sure. PB got her furniture covered in plastic today too. We're living the full granny life. It actually worked out quite well though. I found like moving mattress covers, like just basic plastic covers, so like it's just like a dust cover, but it's plastic, like a tarp, and put that over the chairs and the couch. Then I don't have to do a bajillion layers of different things. Come here, sir. Wasn't quite sure if you wanted the uppies. You shall now uppy the uppy. Ow, fuck you, desk. Flanked my knee. I'm trying to make you your little spot. There you go. I'm still laughing so much. My house moved. And now my chair just... This is what it does. I don't have my feet on the ground. I was not going to do it. Now do I have to lean forward? It's doing it. It's doing it. There's always been like a slight tilt to this room, but it's gotten more extreme since it's warmed up. Probably not more extreme. Probably takes only like the slightest degree of difference, like fraction of a degree of difference, to accomplish the side swoop. It's just funny to me. It's very annoying. So I'm like finagling my phone, like, okay, what notifications did I miss? What do I need? Shutting down my stream stuff at the end of the day, blah, 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 whatever. And then last night I was getting so irked by it because I'm just like, I'm trying to hear and then phone and I'm just around and sideways. And it's like, bitch, back over. And then back around you go. And then back over. And then back around. Foundation off, or is it built on bricks and posts? I have a concrete foundation, I think, because I have a concrete wall basement. I think. This is just gonna bring up a bunch of places to do this. There, example. Oh, I have this so zoomed in from when I was using full screen. I would assume my house is poured like this. But it's cinder blocks, not like solid concrete. Here, like this. My basement is jail. But my house is brick, if that matters for anything. Welcome, Cyogenics. I hope this day has been kind to you. This here, the Voldemort of Voldemort days. Probably just the floor sagging. I would imagine so. Like, it's always had a little bit of a tilt to it. It's just tilting. Can't see, it's too tall. A little bit more now. Just a little bit more. But the house was built in... I don't even remember now.
Very dead now. Rainwaker.
Either 52, 53, or 57.
Nico holds
It's
on
one
to
of those
potential
three.
win reswing, but we know no one's coming from here.
So I mean, it's closer to 100 years old than not.
The world into the red room. Cover in for Kiyasuke.
Stuff just settles over time. Like how if your house is over 100 years old, it's rare if any of your doorways are perfectly straight. They have a little to them.
Pressure on Bemas as Carrigan mollies him out. Donut still smoked. Falcons are gonna hesitate.
I do too. The only thing that like upsets me a little bit, like when I was looking for the French, and the French, rip the French, is that it's very rare that there's central air, and if you have most of the original features, it's rare that there is central air and central heat. Most of them are radiant heat that I ended up looking at from like this time frame, which I don't mind, but you have to vacuum it so much with animals. I was always so paranoid. My apartment had radiant heat. I was vacuuming it like every day, and I only had 3 cats and 2 dogs then. 1 dog for most of the time. I think Loki came two months before my lease ended.
Just the idea of watching his death POV is what makes him so impressive.
But new builds are so shit. I don't know. My aunt and uncle, my niece and nephew, meaning, they have lived in all like newish builds. I think most of my family, their houses were built in like the 50s to 70s. My dad's house was built in the late 80s. But they suck. The windows don't seal. Like there's stupid little like they're just poorly, cheaply done. They're just put up as fast as possible. They suck. I like something older with good bones, which means maintenance, but probably at this point equally as much maintenance as you would have to put into a new build. Radiant heat does feel good. I do like it. It just ruminates within the room. It was very cozy, but makes a lot of sense too since warm air rises. It does. It's a good system. My only downfall with it is that the floof. It's a fire hazard. I think they make like how there's gutter covers, like little plastic covers over them. But I don't know how safe or like functional those are. It wouldn't prevent all of the floof, but it would block out some of the floof. Probably be really annoying to install and expensive though. But I really like having central air at the very least. I really like that.
Oh, what a reroute as well.
I really do.
Can he put it together? Tessa's walked around the world. Gizmy gets on that bomb for the full 10-second stick.
That's how I know at some point my house got the, not the landlord special, but the DIY husband special. It's because there is central air and heat. I think before my furnace was replaced, it might have been original to the house. There's a built-in like humidifier thing to it that is not connected anymore. It was an old furnace. That thing scared me. Like before it really, really scared me. It scared me. I never lit the pilot light on that. I really never even touched it other than change the filter. Just reading an article on Japanese housing. They got the largest abandoned unit to occupied unit in the world. Jeez. Wonder why the unoccupied? Like it's just not worth the maintenance costs? I have no idea how like housing regulations would work over there. That's interesting though. Wow. Growing up in Arizona, it was wild to learn life. There were places that didn't have AC.
Oh boy.
Growing up with my dad, I'm spoiled and I'm used to having AC. I don't want to have to deal with window units. I would have at the French, but that was a sacrifice I was willing to make. I'm looking at a tripod and my screen. Like, stop that, Serena.
to be. Afro's on his own.
Excuse me. I feel like I can't cough a full cough today. It's annoying. That's when I really start to lose my voice and get like gross and like a coop cough. Is when I have to start double coughing. My phone just almost flew. Having birthday problems, but they also value new structures over old. I wonder why. Probably for the same reason that most people in the US do. UK likes older buildings. The most purchasing unit with the highest standard deviation of 77 years, where the US is right behind them at 53 years. I feel like the US is only like right behind it at that amount of time because no one in like, I shouldn't say no one. I'm very lucky that I own my house. There are not many people I know that are within my age range that own their house, or own their house even at an affordable rate, or haven't been foreclosed on. That dream kind of died in like, I was gonna say my high school years, but probably close to around like 2008 financial crisis. So that's probably why there's a higher amount of or where the U.S. is right behind them at 53 years. That would be my guess to why.
Extremities in this match. What is this?
I'm trying to think. At this point, I know one person. I think. No, I know two people that own their homes. One does well for himself. He's paying it off, mortgage. And the other one inherited it when his parents died. I know. I mean, I don't know many people, but I only know two people that own their home. It's interesting. It's mostly superstitious reasons in Japan where they don't want old homes. Well, that kind of makes sense too.
Surely not, right?
Bad energy. Can't feng shui your way out of that one. That's a fair perception too. Build houses and expectation will be rebuilt not too far off. I can see that's a reply. I'm just interjecting myself. It's planned failure on the building, so there's some quality loss. They gotta calm down about that.
So flash call, here it goes. Sorry, you're a sacrificial lamb, but
it is pretty cheap comparatively to US dollars. There's an Instagram account that I follow. Ooh, what would it be called? Where he buys and flips Japanese house. He shows videos of buying and flipping Japanese houses and how he's renovating his own. I have no idea what his handle would be. I'm just going to type in Japan and see if it comes up, and if not, then when I scroll across it, I'll throw it into the Discord. I think it's something houses, but I don't know. Oh, is that really it?
And Monacy not far away, orbing in the donut. BMAS, good luck here.
Is that him? Oh my god, it is!
Simple shot for Monacy.
GG's, Serena. Professional Instagrammer. After that, you ended up learning about hardwareless Japan joinery because you're weird like that. What do you mean, like, hardwareless? Like, things locked together instead of being, like, drilled together? It's Anton in Japan. Anton in Japan, shout it out. When I see "Hey mommy," my first instinct is to reply "Hello my child," and I don't think that's what you're looking for. I'm just finally telling you guys all my secrets. He also shows like really unique things that are in houses, and it's cool. There's a lot of ingenuity.
even under
Boards
the
attaching
floorboards.
to each other with
That's
just
how big
friction and a
walls
key,
far
which is a
bigger than
piece of wood to
any
stop
outdoor
movement.
ever
That's
seen.
amazing.
And right here in the center,
I like
this
that.
traditional Japanese fireplace built on solid concrete blocks. Beautiful.
Don't need to remember
Japanese
where the
history,
drill charger
but it
is.
rubble. We spent weeks sanding the above beams and the ceiling, bringing the natural wood back to life. From mold, stagnant air, years of Irori suit, and Japanese abandonment. Gorgeous. But for a rental home, this becomes a problem. Smoke. Smell.
I don't know where he's from. I can't place his accent.
Permits from the fire department. So it had to go. Instead, we removed all the floorboards, added insulation, solid.
Some things I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. This is the perfect way you could have done this. And other times he shows like things that he's throwing out from like cleaning out an abandoned home, and I'm like, why? Why would you let go of that? Save that.
This abandoned.
Save it.
This is Japan's most famous house. Let me tell you why.
9 months
Why?
ago, we started renovating this abandoned Japanese house. Since then, over 300 million views. German TV came to film.
Was ist los?
Swedish media covered it, and Japanese TV followed the journey. But why
Cool.
did this house become so well known? Because of where it sits, right next to one of Japan's most visited waterfalls. Thousands of people walk past every week, and almost all of them stop. Japan has nearly 9 million vacant homes, and this
I love those style
brought
of
back
doors.
with a new purpose. For the grand opening, we had this
If I ever had the
Swedish
space to do French
Japanese
doors, I would
politician
not.
and
Sorry,
their
Gunther.
uncle
I would not do
made
French doors. I would do
150
doors like that. They're so pretty.
nationalities, and
I'm sure the
none of
dogs
them
would smash their
followed since
noses
day
through the
one.
rice
No.
paper or
For
whatever
the
is in
next
between,
60 days,
but
we're releasing a high-quality
worth
series
it.
every step of turning
just do it
this
checkerboard
abandoned
style, like
Japanese
panel by
house
panel
into
instead of a
the
full sheet.
Japandi waterfall house.
It'd be a pain in the
Anything
ass to
specific
do,
you
but
want us
easier to
cover?
replace.
Leave a comment. This
When someone
is going
sticks
to
their
be fun.
snoot through. Where's his? Where?
This is my abandoned Japanese house, and because of this, it's a very special day today.
Paper doors are really easy to break. I would imagine so. Like one wrong finger move or open the door too fast and you're just right through.
Clearing out all the previous owner's treasure. The molded tatami, the karaoke machine.
She's so pretty,
or
though.
This Japanese ceiling. We climbed this hill 1,000 of times. Spent money at the junkyard, home center, lumber.
If I did
shop,
them DIY, I could probably do
built
like
the
a
wooden deck, cleaned the river.
greenhouse
You've
tarp.
seen all this,
Like
right?
clear
But
plastic
not everyone
over
has.
either
So
side of
many
it.
people
Maybe
have
that
tried
would
this
save it.
road, asking what we're actually building
But that would
and
prevent it
reviving.
from being
So, I
replaceable
decided to
if it does break through.
DIY this.
Doggy snoots.
And
You guys saw
voila,
Ringo with his snoot last
now
night.
everyone will know. Thanks
He
to this
tries
house.
to
And
knock
they
me
can
over
even
from
scan
the
QR
bottom.
code from under video.
Whether I'm like
This is my abandoned
sat
Japanese
squatting
house.
or like bent over, it'll come behind me and just
This is my abandoned house, and this
I'm gonna
right
fall
here
over.
is Japanese craftsmanship. So let's install it together.
In the entrance of my $25,000 abandoned Japanese house.
I guess
we
my
have
abandoned
tiles
adventure journey
all
has
around
moved
this
more to,
big
like,
built-in mirror.
Instagram
After
than
months of
YouTube.
hesitation about which tiles to choose, we finally received exactly
So
what
we really
we
haven't
wanted.
like
And
watched
found
much
it
on
in the
stream
capital of
lately.
Japan.
But
Fuji,
obviously I follow the
tile
channels.
capital of Japan. Here in Gifu,
Playing
we
gorillas in
visited
the
several
background.
tile makers. Learn how to transform clay into beautiful tiles and ceramics. Here, we discovered the incredible diversity of Japanese tile work.
I don't know if Ringo just whined. He was being weird about his tummy tonight. He was yerping for like just a little bit. Then he was fine. Then he was crying a little bit. Then I took him outside. Then he was fine. And he might have just cried. I don't think so though.
Thankfully, we were guided perfectly by Masashi-san, who dedicated his life to tiles and design.
I feel like the production value is higher on YouTube on average. Oh, definitely.
Where our house is located is famous for their momiji, Japanese nipples, that our neighbor Tomisawa-san planted about 60 years ago. We're embracing that with terracotta color tiles, matching the Japanese fall leaves that we'll be able to see throughout the window above the mirror in about 3 weeks.
Short form
The hardest
content
part
is
with
not
tiling is
always
cutting.
quick
Look
to
at
edit.
us. The tiles align perfectly with the width of the mirror.
But not even based on like the time of the video.
After
It
protecting the edges
takes
and removing the
somewhat
excess
less
tile glue,
effort to
we
edit.
used water from our Japanese
I'm sure there's a
river
better
to
way I could
prepare
phrase
them.
that,
Now,
but
for our artisan friends, my grout technique might look DIY, but after
There's just naturally less details to cover in something that's a snippet versus a production.
Fast, and we're having fun. The big
Having
moment,
fun.
revealing our Japandi tiles. Ta-da! All the Halloween colors appear. Our Danish tile friends at Morocco recommended black rock, but gray fits better. Do you agree?
That's
with
really
me?
pretty, but it kind of hurts my head close up.
This is my abandoned house.
I think it's just how it's like on camera though. Okay, I'll stop torturing you guys with that, but I'm in the know.
Nico blocks, and Monty, game plan kind of ruined in this round. They're just going to come through the smoke.
I just realized there's a plus clicker over here. I don't have to try and adjust it myself. Ah. It is very time consuming to get a nice setup.
Kills, 3 rounds. This one's not
When I'm preparing to film, it probably takes me equal, if not more time
That should stop
to
this
set
retake.
up than to actually get ready.
Sometimes no one gives it away. Huge volley forces carrying it forward.
And of course, taking everything down takes like 3 minutes, which always kind of irks me. It's like I put so much time and effort to this and I'm just ripping it apart. Done. Done with that one.
Dude, once he hits that shot, they've won the round.
The light, the angle, the shot,
That is
the everything you need in
uncharacteristic.
view.
He's been on fire in this series. Carrigan covers red. A shadow advantage here if Afro comes around the corner, shifting with the orb. It's unlikely.
It ends up being like a 2-hour process for like 15 minutes that gets turned into 10 minutes. That
Go though.
it just gets torn down.
Monty's hits are so strong.
Not meaning to complain, just like objectively, I think it's funny.
No one rushing, no one overplaying. Oh, that was close. Odyssey on scopes. And maybe they feel like they have to go for this right now because Falcons just can't get a grip on the second half.
Gunther, you're putting my leg to sleep again. At some point, I'm going to have to
Odyssey's gonna grab it.
on
This retake is on.
applesauce cross. He's so cozy.
Afro's gonna hold this down.
He's so schnudged in.
Afro doesn't fall for it.
Like so schnudged in.
Texas finds the line.
How can I move? This leg is asleep. Oh my god, I can't even feel that. This leg. From like the knee down.
Falcons first of the half.
It's at the very least a valid assessment. I don't mean to complain. It's just objectively amusing. In the same way that I find traffic objectively amusing, I suppose.
Yeah, Texas is resetting.
Gunther Paperweight, aka Heavyweight TV.
Close round.
Oh fuck, thank you for reminding me. I want to weigh him.
Ready, flash
I want to make an appointment for him.
Flick
But I wanted to weigh him. I was petting him when we were snuggling,
timing.
played with marbles last night. The night before last.
Yeah. Will this make or will it break?
And he feels a little skinnier to me. I want to see how big you are.
So they get caught off guard.
Should be about 13 pounds. He was 11 when I adopted him, and 11 years old. And 13 is a good weight for him.
Honestly, left instantly. He has great timing.
He doesn't look thin to me. I just feel like I can feel his ribs more when he's laying down. You're such a good boy. I love you so much. You shifted and the feeling is returning to my toes.
Maps for Monty. Is there anything left
You
in
helping
the
me
tank
out
for
here,
this
Bobo? Oh, he's a good boy. Your teeth look good and happy. Your mouth looks very happy.
They needed something. They're speeding A.
Gunther getting the chin rubs.
Not used to seeing Odyssey miss. And Azuwu running back
Aw,
this far
you know.
entries. Seen him do this once already. It's like deja vu.
Chin rub.
Deja vu. Saving. That's a mental
Him
triple
love.
kill for his
Him
skill.
love
He does
it.
not stop. Run that back. Triple.
Look ridiculous.
Saves
It's like,
Monty's
I
souls.
don't care. I love it.
They lost full mid control there, with nothing to show for it. But that
I
one Odyssey
don't
miss,
care.
it counts. Hey, take that.
He started purring and now he's just like
Okay, yeah,
Snorting
doesn't need help. Comes right through
and
the
making
tunnel.
happy face. It feels so good. He like bypassed the purr.
Can Afro ease the tension?
There is this snack here for the Falcons.
There's like a slight rumble.
Kind of most struggling
Although maybe
players.
it's awkward to
This is
purr
where
when
you
you're
can
like
brush that off.
all the way back. I don't know.
And
It's
you're gonna
possible.
get a bit more mileage out of the rest rest of the gang. Tesses with a good start. Azuwu dead.
It's
Not gonna go on. He's
possible.
Reigns of Terror. When Nico
Hello,
closing
Stinky
in,
Binky.
a movie's been making for some time. These kills are on a platter. MP9's feast on the top ramp here. And Rainwaker might think the site's clear. It's not. Carrigan and Nico back here in the cave. A third for Rainwaker. Surely this, though, is the end of the line as Nico hounds him down. Falcons will make it on to match and series point.
Yeah, nice hold there for Tessa. It's nice to see him show up in a big round here. It's been...
I think they finished by the time 4:30 rolled around. Like, I could have stuck it out.
He's crept up ramp.
I was a lazy bitch last night.
Hello, Tesses. Nice to meet you. But Tesses responds. And just like
Oh my god, I figured out an error in my alarms this morning too. I actually woke up to one of my alarms, but then I laid back down a little bit, but like half-assed.
when it matters, right at the end of the game.
And so, I have learned, well, my big alarm clock, I have no excuse for, because I should be able to wake up to that. And I don't. But I should be able to, but I don't. And no excuse for my watch. But my phone alarms, if I have the alarm set to go on after 8:30, it goes down to a very low volume because the Rise sleep app is trying to do its wake up thing from 8:30 on until I tell it no. So somehow with the last update that got bonked in, but I can't change it in the app because I unsubscribed to it. But if you just keep the app on your phone, even if you're not paying for it, it still tells you like your best times to fall asleep and like your most energetic levels and whatever and your sleep debt and all that. Like it still sends you notifications. But my sleep tracking alarm, I guess is the best way of putting it, is making less volume for my regular alarms. It was not okay. Like, why the hell is this so quiet? When did I turn down my phone? My volume was all the way up, but it was doing like the little soft jingle that it does to notify me of its existence. I think they overdid their VOD there a little bit. Next. FaZe lost today. That's okay.
So FaZe are turning this pistol back in their favor, and now Snow has to come in and win it on his own. I think he's been spotted as well.
It's the Rise, R-I-S-E, sleep app. It costs monies, but if you just do the free trial, let it learn your habits, and then never open the app again. I don't know what happens when you open the app, but it's probably just going to tell me to subscribe. It'll still, I think I've crossed out of all of them for today because I don't need them anymore at this point. But it tells you your best time to wake up, best time to know that you're like losing your energy for the day, like your energy dip, and then your energy peak for the evening. It tracks how many hours you're sleeping, just based on like what your phone tracks for how much you're sleeping. So it just operates off of that really. But it puts the data together so it tells you like what your sleep debt is. But when you set it up with the free trial, it asks you a bunch of questions like when is your bedtime, like what are your habits, yada yada yada. And it kind of comes up with a schedule for you, but you can alter it however you want. So that's what I did, and it's pretty great. It's pretty on par. I'm sleepy about when it tells me I should be sleepy. I'm awake when about it tells me I should be awake. I like that it tracks my sleep debt, like how much I'm not sleeping versus sleeping. It congratulates you when you're sleeping good. Oh, it also tells you when to stop drinking caffeine for the day too, so you don't jazz up your sleep. It's very cool. I like it. I don't remember how much it cost, but if it was like $2 a month, I would pay for it, but it's more than that. So I don't. But when you finish the free trial and you just never touch the app again, it still sends you notifications and tells you things. And then whatever time you tell it that you should wake up, it does a little bell at you, and then you have to press the stop button on your screen, and then that's it. Gunther, what was that? Why are you being weird?
Didn't hear the ticks of the Molotov. and completely punished. So he's a
Oh
utility
my
contribution
goodness.
for FaZe. Now
Welcome,
they're gonna
R7.
control.
I'm doing wonderfully. How are you doing tonight?
Smoke goes up, they push forward.
I feel like you should stop drinking caffeine at some point of the day, but you never really do. I mean, I have my shifts of caffeine, at least for now, you know. So I feel like I'm justifying it. It is hard to stop, though. Because you know once you stop, at some point you'll be tired. Like, maybe sooner than you wanted to be. Oh my god, my leg is unnumbing, and it's the worst feeling. Now, there are things that feel worse in life, but... Alright, you're sitting in the litter box and doing nothing, but looking sad 3 days in a row. We're calling Doc tomorrow. Excuse me. Well, this time he's sitting and not laying, but... Oh, you can't see. Got there through the things. Now we're digging around. Okay, let's accomplish things. I write down when him and Zeke go to the bathroom and everything, and like his habits haven't changed. But his tummy's definitely been a little bit upset at least. How did I have it? What am I doing here? Oh my god. No, I still did not fix this. I forgot what I was saying. He's either having some stress colitis, or we're running into like an age issue, or perhaps he's contracted PB's COVID. I don't know. I don't think so though. Like he's still solid, just not the normal color. I can give an updated report on that situation momentarily here. I think it's stress colitis. I think he thinks Voya is still in the bedroom. Because he keeps sitting by the door and like just waiting to. And it's sad. But Zeke is so sensitive that I can't like fix that scenario for him like I fixed it for Pippi. Good job. Yeah, we're still funny colors. But I don't think you have the kitty COVID. I think it's just stress colitis. Let's make sure, because you're a senior gent. I did recently change his food, too, but changing food would make for funny butt, yes. But we did it slowly. But it would not account for, like, sitting in the litter box. That's a sign, like, that's what cats do when they're uncomfortable. I don't know what's making him uncomfortable, but something is.
Can't even remember which exact round that was, to be honest with you. But not going well, clearly.
To completely backpedal, though, I do like that it tells me what time to stop drinking caffeine for the day, though. Because that's about the time I should stop for the afternoon. Even though I can usually sleep when I'm caffeinated, it's best, like, maybe not to. I don't get the most restful sleep. So I stop then if I'm, like, out and about and I have my coffee with me. And then wake up and start it back up.
As Twist drops off short. 9-2. Final round of the first half.
Where did you go, Mr. Gunther?
They're looking to extend this to double digits as they head into the halftime
Hi.
break.
You can do bath time or you want to come up?
FaZe, they're going to call a B-rush to close out the half.
You want to come back up? Come here. Mama?
It won't work. Twist just runs around the side. So
it's okay. It's just a cord that I put stupidly.
Now they've got to hold on to it. And, okay, that looked like a tough clear for Safe. He still wins it with AWP.
We gotta wait you.
Now full victory hold of this site for
If I remember before bed, we'll do it. Otherwise, we'll do it in the morning. Scale is downstairs from mostly weighing marbles.
Impossible. Frozen plays at window. Rookie down inside of the site. FaZe just trying to hit the bare minimum of 3 rounds here.
Alright, let's get comfy, cozy. Spin around to the side. It's so annoying, but it's making me laugh.
A tough time for FaZe. That's going to change here in the second half.
Mr. Gunther. Mr. Gunther. 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 Oh, I'm so bummed. I think I mentioned that Doc is going to have a fill-in vet, or like an extra vet for a while, so that he has like 2 sets of hands. But the younger girl who was in vet school that Voya really loved, like they vibed. They were wonderful together. And she called Gunther Gunther, which I really liked. She ghosted Doc.
Okay, lovely work from Jacob. That third one.
She graduated last year, and he's reached out to her a couple times, and radio silence. Which, like, even if her number changed or she lost her phone or something, she knows Doc's number. I liked her. Now I gotta go to vet school and take over. Just kidding.
His attention will go towards long eights, prevent pushes from that location eventually.
Oh yeah, Zeke, have a hairball right on my fluffy blanket.
Hasn't worked out for him. VSM getting the opening frag here for Payne.
It's a lot of utility dump though that Payne is
He
happy
might.
to see.
He might not.
VSM just backs away, sees Nate's coming from the left and the right side of middle, so call
That is too bad. I'm bummed. I really liked her. But I understand too, like, you've got to make money. But
Flipping this back in their favor all of a sudden. Both of those kills going against Payne.
it shouldn't just ghost people. I don't know. I would assume the Doc would be on her resume somewhere too, because she did her shadow work at the clinic. Like, however that works, I don't know what the requirement for that for people or animals are, but he had to sign off on things for like her hours at the clinic. You okay, Z? You get the little hairbally. We'll put some in your food in the morning.
That felt very punishing. It's really nice for Snow to open up the deep bomb site for Payne. Get them that 10th round. 3 away from stealing his first map away from FaZe. Imperial's got another opening kill.
Be halfway there when you get a set of scrubs.
And an opening frag for Payne.
Oh my goodness.
Very successful in the first half, right? FaZe were really struggling to convert.
For now, they want this AWP of Brokey to find
Perhaps.
the equalizing kill. Bring it back into a 4-on-4.
Perhaps. No, I don't need them. Like, I have my smock and my aprons. I found those last night.
Brokey trying to step out of the open, but VSM, he has been spotted at least.
I don't know. I remember I was feeling ugly in my smock. It's a small, but it's large. And I don't look good in aprons either because I'm short. Not that I need to look good, you know, impress the dogs. But you feel your best when you feel good about yourself. And I don't know. I think over the years I've developed, like, liking a uniform for things so that it separates the pieces of my life. So, like, I have my pajamas and, like, houseware, like cozies, and then I have my dog walking clothes, and then I have my spicy stream clothes, and then I have my either bikini or regular stream clothes, and then we rotate back to pajamas, and it's I piece out my life by my pieces of clothing. So I think I'll like not just putting on like regular wear and something that makes sense. The shop has a theme though that I'm not sure if I want to share. I don't know how searchable it would be. But every color could apply to that, so it doesn't really matter which set of scrubs I would get. It's this thing that happens in the human medical industry that you can see happening in Pet 1. The doctor is enjoyed by clients there, and I was enjoyed by staff, and vice versa. Oh, that might be it. Now that I've been going there for so long and spend half my life there, I kind of know the drama that goes on behind the scenes, like not all of it, but I more or less know who likes who or who doesn't like who or what the little intricacies are behind everyone's little smiles. Maybe aren't the most genuine. Makes me anxious though. I don't like being around environments like that. That makes me a little bit nervous to go back to like a shop versus just working for myself, because all animal people are crazy people. Like, we're all nuts. Like, everyone's nuts. But animal people are a special kind of nuts. Sometimes in a good way. Sometimes in the most peculiar of ways. We'll say kindly. But it's always a dramatic environment. Whether it's a grooming shop, whether it's a vet's office, whether anything of the sort. It's always a dramatic environment. I really hope it's not. This one is owned by men, which is very uncommon. So I feel like that will maybe take the drama down. Hopefully. I'd like to think men can be dramatic too, though.
Yeah, you'll always have some resistance around like this, even with the weaker weapons on the other side. A lot of heavy lifting, but it would be incredible, and Payne still won this round.
They have an avenue open into the A bomb site. I mean, I know it's a 4-on-2. Twist is starting to push towards T spawn, so he's going to be.
Men participate in drama, but I feel like they're at least a little more level-headed about it than women are. Men take it objectively, women take it personally, most times. You guys can be a little dramatic. Think about when you catch a cold and feel like you're dying. Just kidding. It's just impossible to avoid drama anywhere that you are. Where people exist, drama will also exist, inevitably, at some point. Maybe not continuously, but at some point, you know? Going to be involved in it. But most men don't take it super seriously. Girlies do, though.
They push up to his temple, Sable look to the window and dive down into the water, fighting Jacob, who takes a lot of damage, and he is going to fall away.
Honestly, the tiniest of colds does kind of turn you into a big baby. I think all men are like that. You guys just get like... I mean this in the nicest way possible, but it's gonna sound mean. You guys are so pathetic when you're sick. Like, you're just... You shut down and, like, go into just baby form of... Take care of me. Tend to my woes. Hold me. Like, it's kind of cute. I don't mean pathetic in, like, a negative way. It is kind of cute. But it's funny. Like, I'm running around the house hacking my lungs out, and I don't give a fuck. But I know if the tables were turned, and if there was a penis holder in this house. It'd be a big baby. It's a baby. Saying we have drama. Oh my god. No, you guys never have drama.
Yeah, well, that's fine. They don't want to mess with mid anymore. I think they're just going to step right through this. Yeah, VSM's already in it. And they back off. They don't want to risk the advantage that they
I think the main thing about drama and, like, the animal working with field is more along lines somewhere on the path of, not that everyone thinks that they're right, but everyone thinks that more or less their practices are the best practices. And I think that's where the drama comes in. Because I've seen, like, people get, not actually vengeful, but, like, really, really shit-talky, snippy over, like, the tiniest little dinky thing. But maybe that comes from a place of insecurity, too, which and probably does. There's one girl I worked with years ago that was, I don't know, I guess, like, suggested by another groomer that, oh, why don't you do the shave, like, this way instead of that way to accomplish the same length for a really difficult dog. And objectively, that would have been the easier way, but not generally her order of operations. And I remember her being so fucking bent out of shape over it. Like, we were having a cigarette together outside, and just, like, she was just going off about it. Like, let me do the damn dog the way I want to do the damn dog. Like, calm down. Who cares? Like, obviously you care, but, like, do you need to? Is it worth the time and energy? No. Or you think men are just like, yeah, it's fucking stupid to do it that way. Whatever. And then, like, secretly maybe you'll try it or maybe you won't. I don't know. It's less impactful.
There's a chance for phase, but it's the other team coming out on the winning side of it, right? You're not getting those close round ones that seem to power phase up.
Well, there's Brokey and Frozen trying to do it, but Pyrio just takes both of those lives away instantly. So Frozen, 1v2 now, he does have a chance to separate.
Gunther bath time.
But Snow actually just claims that victory immediately. So the lead team taking here for Pain, smiles on their faces, and they're loving how this game is starting. Actually in the side for FaZe right now.
It's been so quiet across this whole map. I think FaZe is kind of like scratching their head. They have no information. Just now they're starting to make their information.
I think the only thing I ever really got bent out of shape or, like, upset at work about was when I was criticized for my time, which I was often. Which makes sense. If you expect a dog to be done in an hour and a half and I take 2 hours, that's not ideal for you. But I feel like that's pretty unrealistic, number one, fresh out of school, and number two, when maybe you have a more compassionate than direct approach. Not saying that other groomers aren't compassionate, but when you've been doing it 10 years versus 6 months, you can combine speed and compassion. I feel like at this point I've got it down, but I'm going to be a very perfectionist for a while. Only time you get snippy about someone critiquing how you do something is if you're doing something for free. Oh god, that's so irritating. I'm doing you the favor. Shut the fuck up. That's my feeling on that. Someone is doing work for you for free and you don't like what they're doing. You can either ask them to stop or grin and bear it. Exactly. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. That's why I complained to myself, but not my dad, when he wouldn't cut the grass short and would just have the length. I like suggest a difference, but I won't ever like call him up after and just be like, you cut the grass too long. I will just keep it to myself and bitch while I clean up shit. Fucking this. Could cut it shorter and it's stuck in.
Another deja vu situation. Furia spots two over middle, backs away from the fight, calls out to his teammates. Bomb stepping in now. That's a great nade. Well placed, well timed.
How long have I had dogs for? 13 years?
And you might just want to prioritize the op.
I think. So let's see. I stopped being annoyed by doing litter boxes probably like 25 years into having cats. So we've got like another odd 10 years, 12 years until I won't be irritated cleaning up after the dogs. I don't like doing that. It's an annoying task. I'll do it, but I don't like to. I don't think anyone likes to, but I want to get to the point where I don't mind it.
And that kill's so deep and no one else is home, no other presence that you saw, you can kind of drift away a little bit. Player goes towards middle, that's going to be Twist to hold the fort.
I'm always so grumpy doing it, and I don't like being grumpy. It's not like it even takes a long time. Just makes me grumpy. This is fresh in my traumatized mind. I cleaned the yard and cut the grass today. It's all nice and short. I'm honestly so proud of myself how I've been maintaining it. Gunther, I gotta move my leg. I can't feel it. Let's readjust. Gunther says, hey, what a wonderful kind of day. You sweet boy. You sweet boy. Love you.
Simple as that, really. And I mean, they can just maintain this kind of slow pace now, right? Like, you can just pause and wait. Another smoke here towards canals. Twist gonna step into it.
You're such a good boy.
Just to check that close corner. Twist not gonna be revealed by it.
My handsome fellow.
Back into the shroud of the smoke again. 45 seconds left. Long will be making his way to the B side for the finish here. No, okay. There's no chance.
You need your nails done.
Absolutely none right now for FaZe. Jacob's had a rough time.
There are no clippers over here anymore. They're in the kitchen.
It doesn't go much better. Both of those players go down in an instant. The site's taken, plant is through.
Gunther would let me do it right now, but not if I get up and come back.
We're looking at 9-2.
You might not even have the save. I mean, if I'm paying, I'm throwing everything at this. Look at all the money that they've got to reinvest in whatever weapons they need. I'm going to take.
Zeke is such a baby for his nails. I feel so bad, but I end up laughing at him every time.
Moving around the map, he'll be found by Brokey. Good shot, good flick down. And now the pressure
he acts like his fingers are being mutilated or something, and it was like the most pathetic meow. It's torture. I feel so bad, but he's so dramatic about it. I guess men can be dramatic. But he's got an excuse, he's neutered. It's not as much testosterone pumping through to keep him tough.
The tough part is here for FaZe, obviously they've done nothing in this first half, so they'll have to do something in the second half, which they haven't shown capable of, which is going to a huge streak of round victories just to get back into it. Well, his nature getting activated with a flash here from Twist, going to grab the opening kill and drop away, so no trade coming in for Payne.
Well, they've won 9 rounds in a row in this half after losing the pistol in the second.
I gotta give Peeps her meds in
trying to continue that
15 minutes-ish.
They've overcome a couple 4v5 deficits.
Peeps with her plastic-covered furniture now.
Ready and waiting. There's the swing. Gets one.
I was so lazy today. Not lazy, just choosing my battles. I covered all the furniture there with plastic, which is ridiculous. And then I pulled out all the blankets to wash all the blankets. And I remade the bed, but like only with a sheet and then the cover. So I napped in with PB today again. And I just slept on plastic. I feel like that's a new level of exhausted. Like you can actually fall asleep through the crinkle. PB was so snuggly too. She has not done this the entire time I've had her. She hasn't tried to nurse on shit. We even had to try and give her, like, her milk and probiotics through the syringe instead of the bottle. She tried nursing on my face while I was trying to fall asleep. Daisy did that as soon as I separated Mom from them so everyone could get spayed. And she did it in the same spot as Daisy. Apparently something about my chin right here, like there's not even a pimple there. There's a pimple over here, but right here. No, right here. Girl! What do you want about? There's no mama kitty boobs there. You weaned yourself. And you're doing this. Maybe it's like a regression thing. My niece and nephew both did it. I think I remember my godmother's niece and nephews like periodically having those moments where like you get to a certain age, like under the age of 10, but you get to like somewhere between 6 and 9, and sometimes you want to be super mature, and then other times you just go like super baby mode. Like you'll find your like 9-year-old curled up on the couch in a blanket, like sucking their thumb, cosplaying as a baby or something. Not speaking from experience, finding my nephew on the couch doing that and then just laughing at me like, hey, I can do whatever I want, which is true. Not the mama, not the mama. I think she thinks I am her mom. Her being obsessed with my face is supposedly what that means. Not just trying to, like, nurse on it, but she comes up and she loves face. She's always faster to run towards me when I put my head on the ground versus just like, come here, baby. Apparently that means she was very bonded with her mom, and now she thinks I'm her mom. She imprinted on me. And she kind of did. I love her. I'm not glad that she goes through what she goes through, but I'm secretly, selfishly glad that she's here. It's not so secret now, though. I told you guys. She's a good kid, even if she needs plastic furniture. The only thing I need to watch for is like if she can chew on any of it, which she hasn't so far. I was so tired when I was covering everything earlier. She was so spooked. She was under the dresser the whole time, like, oh my god, what is Mom doing? Which I wasn't being obnoxious about it. I was just being as quick and efficient as possible. She was like, whoa, Mom's moving fast. What's going on? What's going on? And then she got her probiotic treats, and she was happy again. Because the 3 players are going to save these weapons if Biggie Zera's Snow Imperia. But you're getting them. You're getting closer and closer, obviously, with every step. She's so silly. And that breaking opportunity is still going to be there in the next round as well. Gunther, I love you so much. Don't mean to just tout off on Peewee. Gunther, you are wonderful and amazing and incredible. Gunther and Zeke watched me walk the dogs today. Which I only know Zeke was there because I saw him before I walked out the back, and you can't see Zeke through the window. Like, even if he's on the tree in the window, you can't see him. He just blurs out. But he was still there when I came back in, too. So I think we waved at him. So I walked by with Diesel, and then I walked by with Ringo. They're both good about, like, squirrel and bird and whatnot is friend, not food, but I don't ever want to risk getting pulled by both of them, so I walk them separate. Every time we walk by the window, like, Gunther, Zeke, we're your biggest fans. We're your biggest fans. Oh, where is he? He's on the bed in the blanket. He's the blob. He looks like the not pillow. He's the blob. Zeke is secret. He's my secret sauce.
Just run away at this point if you pay. He has no time to get it back and get it to the site.
Swim away,
Anyway,
swim away.
and those chances are never given over. In fact, they take the kill before the time at least, but 11-8. It's paying
He
back
just
to
chilling like a
Elias.
villain. He sat on Gunther the other night.
Probably feel a little bit starved for information right now for Payne.
He was snuggling up and he sat on Gunther. Zeke is not a big cat, but he looks big next to Gunther. It's just an Instagram kind of night. He sat on him. And then they snuggled, but he looks so big next to Gunther. It's just the way that they're laying mostly. He sat on him. He plooped his butt. It was funny. Like, it was only funny because it was like 5 a.m., but it was funny.
Dry peak with no flash results in an easy kill for Brokey.
They've been punished. That's like the third time I feel in this half. They've been punished by being the aggressor on the CT side. I almost feel like they should just have the combo and kind of
Bath time.
stop worrying about those early pushes.
Bath
They worked out
time.
for you in any way. Another opening kill provided by Brokey's off.
Still licking the inside of your legs a little bit too.
Towards the B-bomb site. Fury is actually pushing away.
Little goob.
He's looking to grab one kill and stay alive.
Safe holding as they cross on in. Going to be another kill here for the Brazilian. Bigger Zera spamming down through the smoke. And then slow face down, bringing them to a halt really inside the big side. The flash shift, it doesn't matter. Safe still lands the shot. Pyria has the follow-up. And despite losing the opening kill, Payne still win the round.
They do get along well.
At series points.
Yeah, 4 chances to
They've bickered a little bit since Voya's not been here.
Playing the loser of the NRG foot game that comes up later on today.
Zeke has tried to play a little bit too rough with Gunther and like gotten in his space a few times, like kind of asserting himself as the dominant cat,
He's going to move on up.
which makes sense,
Deep angle already taken outside of big
but
man.
makes Gunther his.
Conference team just swinging over, but Pyria's got that headshot still.
They've had some readjusting in the last few weeks, but they do get along so well.
In the opening game of the entire True Masters Atlanta, it is a disastrous start for FaZe, but beautiful for Payne.
It's very nice. It's very cute.
They lost all the pistol rounds, but they don't let their opponents get the double figures on either map.
I do like that they like to sleep together regardless of figuring out their new hierarchy or not. She really went for that post-FOD time, jeez. Twice now. Twice in one night.
Pistol round going down. Audio is good. Everything is good.
This is the team that Rain went to. I haven't watched any of 100 Thieves yet.
All right.
So I think they only played through 2 maps.
Number 1 of this best of 3 coming in. We got Basement Boys
It's like
and
an
Matt
hour.
to pick on a new 100 Thieves. Going to be.
They
starting
know
this
not to go to bed
side of
angry.
things.
They learned that
Right
from
into
me.
it.
I
Seems like
firmly
Basement
believe
Boys
in
go
that.
first, stack up over towards ramp to start things off. Only held on from Poi right now. Don't think there's a fast road.
Gunther was very sweet when Zeke sat on him, though. He wasn't hissy about it.
From heaven, Poi tapping him away.
Which he
Able to
was
find
super
Reed,
hissy
gets
with
him
Voya at
forward.
first. Like, that's
it's
Gunther
now
is
just
super hissy with
Owner
everyone at
left
first. That's how he
standing
expresses
in a
himself.
1v5. Poi on
So it doesn't really worry me.
Is he gonna be able to find it? It taps away, knocks Owner down to 40. And they're letting him go for it. They want Poi to
And
go
slowly
one,
they got
which
more
is the
comfortable
round
with
the
each
ace.
other, and so have you and Zeke. You're buddies. My little
Now start
black
off
and
Owner
black and
down,
white
Owner
boys.
on top T roof. Is it gonna be the ace? It's not going to be Device. Able to
Black
find the
on
kill,
black
pistol
and white
round to
boys.
100 Thieves. Clean shots in for Poi.
And if Void wants to be someone's girlfriend,
I'm in the middle of a lecture about history of British Isles. I try to pay attention, but has been an hour. I've given up.
I'm not making
That
choices
would probably
about
give up to.
anyone
Face
else's
of matches,
arrangements
no, I
until
appreciate it, but
Marbles doesn't need to be in the
when I
bedroom
got some-
anymore.
when I got some time,
I think
don't
I do want to
know-
have her in
I
there
don't know
for the
what the
duration
schedule
of
kind- I
time.
think I'm gonna be pretty busy
Mostly
with,
for
like,
monitoring,
streaming stuff
mostly so
till
we
I
just
leave for
spend like
ATL,
the
so I
utmost
don't know
time
if it
together.
would be until after ATL or not. That's like my one thing. Drink 40. It could have
Welcome,
been if
Jax.
they, like,
Enjoy
lost
it while it
focus.
lasts.
I just saw the hydrate.
It's
coming.
the in-between phase from
Sarah
very
finding the
brunette
opening
to
takes
very
out trouble.
blonde.
This is just Glocks and socks this round. I think there
Just
was
Glocks
the
and
one brought in from
socks.
trouble that's getting passed around right now. Wide swings to try to make their way over towards Z group, but one by one, and down they fall. Device even spamming through Secret, able to find that kill. NHL TV rating doesn't really like matter for the most part.
Let's
So
get a
like,
better stream of this. No. Rude.
yeah, I mean the
Oh,
NHL
I
TV
thank
rating
you.
doesn't really like matter for the most part. So like, that's like a large thing.
They didn't move at all. I thought I just saw him in my peripherals.
Backwards outside right now for Basin Boys 0. Good for 2 before going down to owner. Also damage onto him. Knocked him down to 49.
Aw, you too.
Are going to be
Thank you.
stacking up in towards lobby. Moved to owner in Magent.
Magenta.
I have not seen that name. Exactly
Like
like
for
that.
Blue's Clues.
Exactly like it. As you're holding in, all 3 players heading towards ramp. Taken out from Grieve that does get some initial damage. Knocks him down to 18 HP. Enough to actually hold Basement Boys back from actually going for the ramp exec and pivoting back in lobby.
You gotta start our own CS
45
team
seconds, they're taking
in the
all
stream
the
room.
time in the
So
world,
the
actually.
basement
They're wrapping
boys, the
back
stream room
outside and
boys.
only leaving Grieve inside of lobby.
SRB,
It should be
stream
there.
room
There's-
boys. LFG.
Hey,
Teach
Raph,
the
I
cats
mean,
to
only 20
Counter
seconds
Strike.
left on the clock though. Rain.
Though I think I showed you guys the
See them? Yeah, the next engagement
video I
is
found
their
of the
way
streamer
from
who had
the
taught her
device.
dog how to
It's 20
do
wings out for boy.
like button commands for different different functions in Overwatch. My brain is at the video is at like 1.3 and my brain is at like 0.75 tonight.
Spotted right there. He's just gonna pull back away. So save coming in for 100 Thieves.
Maybe we could
Oh, the
teach
two
them.
M4s. First one on the board for Basement Boys.
That's what we use the stream
Coming
deck
with a
for
reset.
now.
Appreciate you, go.
That's so awesome. I loved coming across that. I follow her on Twitter and she posts a lot more clips of the dog playing and it's nice to come across. It's so cool.
First on T side, pretty early here. Tinkson coming in with a primer as well. Appreciate
That's so genius. I love that. I wish any of the zoo was like predisposed to button training. None of them are into it.
Huggins lost a map to 9Z.
We've done harness training. We've done trick training. But cats aren't trainable. They're just suggestible. And no one is suggestible enough to use the fucking buttons. I haven't trained with PB yet. Maybe we can teach PB and then she can press a button that says, "Gotta tinkle."
Oh yeah, I'm just it's bound to happen, dude.
Maybe.
You're standing up? I am standing up.
She's smart. She's street
Second
smart,
for
though.
Ramp right now, Boy holding on to things. Able to
She's
find
not
the
like
first,
book
stop
smart,
blocking
so
hard
we'll
plays,
see.
Able to find a second before going down. Takes out Grievda on her fast path, and it is just going to be a stack it down towards B here for Basement Boys.
People just
Bomb getting
trotting
punched in
around.
safe. The question is, did they attempt to go for this retake? Question towards double, getting a shot, but owner's there. No trade yet for Magiel. Finally able to grab it. 2v2, the timing of Agile swinging out, but he's not able to find the kill onto Megan, and Device is just going to be pulling back away. Second on the board now for Basement Boys, tying things up inside of map 1. But are you feeling better? Are you going back to streaming all day, every day? Yeah, I would say for the most part.
This
yeah,
feels
I would
weird,
say
like,
the challenging
watching
issue
someone
kinda
else's
comes down to
content.
it too, would be like,
But,
I'm going to be at Atlanta, so I'm going to need to find some balance.
Want
Although
to
I might.
watch this. There's no other way.
I could bring a laptop and I could do like co-streams from the hotel.
I think 100 Thieves has been playing more obscure tournaments. Like half the ones they've been playing since Rain joined
That could work. 'Cause I'll
haven't
be going
been
up
on
early.
the
I'll be
AHL
going up
TV
early.
schedule.
Like,
So I don't think there's the most
Like it,
proper broadcast of most of the streams.
who cannot like
Or
who?
most of the matches.
Backpack stream from Florida and Atlanta? I don't think I signed up for that. I think you gotta sign up for it. Promise us an airport stream, airplane stream. I'm not airplane stream. Alright, coming in with a resub. Appreciate it. Go to half a year, the 6 month. 6 months already, dude. flies by. In Atlanta, just parking lots and highways. Yeah, and Coca-Cola and stuff.
He's kind of funny though.
It's gonna be the hero op at advice. Fozzie coming in with a resub. Happy anniversary to 12 months, beautiful.
That looked like the Fansly logo.
Yeah, basically, I 6 months already, dude.
Careful eyes,
Flies
Club
by.
Cult.
In Atlanta, just parking
I'm
lots
sure
and
it's not,
highways.
but my brain can't unsee it now.
Yeah, and Coca-Cola and stuff. It's gonna be the hero op at advice.
I know it's not, but all I see is Fansly. It just looks like it.
Fozzie coming in with a resub. Happy anniversary to 12 months, beautiful. Appreciate the hype train as well, guys.
Secret
Yeah,
guerrilla
basically,
marketing.
I am fully back. I need to work on things still, but like, yeah, I am back. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, damn straight. You know, you are famous enough for it. I don't think I am. I don't think I am. I don't,
It's the first year in, I think, my entire life. I didn't tell my dad Happy Mother's Day. I sent him a card.
Seems like a lobby sack
Probably
on
should
the,
be
on the
there
cards for Basement Boys. They want to
tomorrow.
start pushing through. Kind of held behind these mollies right now. Agile repositioning backside alongside Sierra. As I'm eating the HE device, taken down inside of heaven. That was the op in the
weird.
round, so it's just going to be pistols left standing. Oh, the bait and switch. Sierra's good for one. Swaps to the 5-7. Gets his hands on the AK. Wait, boy, hopping towards heaven. If he can hold this line, able to take down trouble. It's a wide swing from Boy to try and go out. Has to go for the anti-flash. Rain can take down owners. Trying to get left in a 1v2. I was going to say he has to go for the play, probably, but Boy swings out of heaven, able to find the kill. That was a hero op into the round.
And there you're so
Nice spot
cozy.
around it.
Peeps nature mensch.
Without the weak
Baby boy.
Talk to the phone and smack a GoPro on the nose of the plane. That'd be crazy.
So cozy.
Yeah, good night, Apollo.
Blurp, 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 blurp. Oh, Gunther looks like a king. Imagine he has a crown on his head right now. He looks so chunky and floofy and royal.
Forced by attempt back in for
Shake it
Basement
off.
Boys.
Shake it off, Taylor Swift.
With Magnet.
Alright. You give Peeps a rinse.
Interesting name. I want to say Magnet. Flashes
You
going
get my
through.
coffee,
Rain's
too.
Drop into that sweetie smoke.
Burp,
Back
burp.
around.
Meh. Ears.
Sound fake reality. Sierra can find Megan from up in towards
Ears.
down to trouble. Last player standing is Owner in towards Squeaky. 1v4 Mac 10 in a dream.
You good, bro?
Down below him, it's just gonna make noise regardless. We've been holding this at an off angle. We'll find the kill. Angle salt.
It's like funny, but I feel bad. His ears are irritated. He like scritches at them, and then when he's done and like over it, like the itch is accomplished. He like just sits like poised and like just stares focusedly and like heavy breathes a little bit, like, oh, okay, made it through another one. Mission control, area secured. It's just, I feel bad, but it's funny.
Got you.
He looks so serious.
Dicky coming in.
Serious Gunther is serious.
Appreciate it, goat.
Be right back.
Subbers.
Heat up my coffee. Give Peeps her meds.
Rosie,
I'm leaving the lizard
it's
lights and heated
cool
blanket.
and
I
refreshing.
want
It's
warmth.
also cool to see a lot of like upper echelon
want
talent
warmth.
inside of the tier 2 scene to begin, and I think it does give a lot of light to tier 2 teams. Molly
Cozy.
there, attempting to swing ahead of it, but
Oh,
one
did I
by one, and
lose
down they
the
fall. A 4K for Poi.
String. I did.
Similar situation, and it seems he's also
back.
he's not gonna get the ace. It's gonna be Agile
Baby,
grabbing it
come
this
back.
time. The eco
Baby,
farm is
come
good.
back to me. Okay. Burp. Burp, burp.
Sure.
Burp, burp, burp. Burp this way.
No, it was a good hold, honestly. Boy was doing a good job on the ramp, holding it down. Timeout called here for Basement Boys. Full 5 back into this next round. Appreciate the train, coach. Poison aimer, he is cracked young blood. Zero really has been I would say, well-rounded. I feel like Poi has his on games and off games a little bit more, and I think he just needs to find a little bit more consistency. still finding their footing a little bit. But what? It's only been, I think like right now, it has been like March 3 months officially of like the roster and stuff when they did their first online quali. Starting to compete as a team. Here, Device able to get the opener, takes down Creeped Up Boy, it takes down Fake Reality. Ramp is gonna get shut down. Rain does throw him in the smoke. This reposition is looking brutal. Opener outside. He's the healthiest man alive for Basement Boys.
Okay, so like how Gunther has a wrestling name now,
Brutal question.
PB has a wrestling name now. She's
on
front
or
heavy
off
in TV.
I
She's
would say for me playing personally,
my
like
Padawan.
I stream a lot of my games when I play and stuff, so I feel
Even though I
a
myself,
bit more pressure.
not a wrestler or boxer.
That
Front
would
heavy.
kind of be it.
Front heavy TV.
I feel like that's like the main thing. This is crazy. I'm gonna walk down towards angle, 15 seconds remaining. Gotta open it, attempt to run out. Sears needs to kind of stay alive here. Able to find two. That bomb is dropped and just find all three. Yeah, I mean, the time was ticking way too fast. They needed to speed up a little bit sooner, but even still, I mean, Sears staying alive there to begin with. Take that eventually. I just don't play enough on stream. What about Agile? I think Agile's pretty just chilling. Like, I wouldn't say he's been a wow factor, but at the same time, he's been a pretty reliable piece to this team. Like right now, I think my personal takeaways for 100 Thieves is, Boy just needs to find consistency, right? I mean, he'll have good games, but then he'll have immaculate games. Like right now, he's 14-2. And sometimes Device just looks shaky. Like, maybe a little overwhelmed. I know he's probably helping a bit with comms, maybe with Rain. So, yeah, that's my takeaway. So just some pistols into this round for Basement Boys. They are stacked up over towards ramp. Boy not catching a wind of them just yet. Able to find the first. Find some damage on an owner, Magant, but not able to find a second kill. Think they can win versus Send. I would argue to just say like this should theoretically be 100 Thieves tournament to win. I think Ascend just recently picked up Harm, but even still, yeah. I don't know if it's enough. They're able to find two in towards Squeaky. Gonna actually swing back in to close it. Takes down owner through the spam of Squeaky. Agile getting Fake Reality in towards Mini. 7th now for 100 Thieves. They start to their CT side on Nuke. One of their more comfortable maps in their full set. Actually, this whole map pool for 100 Thieves is pretty comfortable, other than Mirage if needed, and that would be in map 3. They watch try. Yeah, they played.
She's so little and cute. We love her.
Yes.
We love her so much.
Trouble opener does take down Sierra. Some missed shots in from Vice. Swaps over to the dig, and the one dig up to Trouble on Silo. Has the option.
Really wonder how big she's gonna get. I thought Slavko would stay super small. Slavko's like more average sized for a female now. I think she's gonna be about as big as Charlie. I don't know.
Right, timing here, back turn towards Mini. Has to swing in at some point, but taken out from Fake Reality. 3v3 situation to reposition.
She might hit a giantess growth spurt.
That's what you're saying. Gonna be tagging in.
I don't remember if I mentioned or not. Nibbler is getting huge.
Into the 1v1 and put bomb and dropped right outside of Mini. No smoke.
Which is so funny. She was originally the runt. Stripes is staying slight. Little skulky girl.
Just got picked up. Device though, able to find the kill.
Nibbler is huge. Oh, I did post. I remember you saying that in Discord. I did post about them. I did mention it. That was like weeks ago. Wow, really fishing for the knowledge there, Serena. She is Bigler now. She's the biggest of all of his cats now, and she's not even a year old. She's bigger than his 2 adult cats and Stripes, obviously.
Fast play right now outside for Basement Boys.
Just like, wow.
Sitting in back red.
I would guess his other girls are probably about as big as Charlie.
Smoke's gonna get thrown in. Owner full sprinting in towards Secret. Will make his way down, but he's gonna be there alone.
There's no expiration date on cat pictures. True. But it was a little foolish to share knowledge like a month later. I don't even know when that was. I have no sense of time anymore.
only going to be rain down towards B.
Gunther, you don't have to sit by the door. You can sit with Mom. Do you want to come up here? You want to come up here?
Will be exec attempt. A minute left on the clock. It does seem like Basement Boys want to give it a little bit more time to see if there's a misstep for 100 Thieves, but
Yay. Nay.
what was that? Poi and Device were pushing in ramp. Found the opener to take down Frida. Down
he's
goes rain on B,
deciphering.
so B side opened up.
He's skulking. He's
For
sniffing
Maine.
a box.
We'll find Agile. Poi went down as well. Nice. Pulled from ramp here. He's actually speeding up. Up in towards Dark. Pop flash up and over. The Molly coming in though has to make the swing attempt. Hey, still good for one and leaves it into a possible clutch for Zero. 1v2.
And take a seat and just be.
Just throw it down and try to spam on a trouble. Oh, it baits him into the
Take a
door.
seat and be.
Here's 18 HP. Just gonna go for the stick. Megan able to find the kill. That was actually for a second the bullet started to go around.
He just doesn't seem like in general comfortable, which I know is like kind of normal. Like when you're out of sorts, but just want to make sure there's nothing else going on. He's just writing novels in his head.
There you go, Gonzo.
He's just taking creative pauses in life.
I do this. Very good impression.
Bath time.
Guard 9Z duo Falcons. Imagine. Good chance, buddy. Chill.
It's a good hot coffee. Warm my soul.
It's 5-5.
Warm my soul.
Garian. Only know Onder. Been watching a while, Trona? Has a normal ass haircut. You might. Bro fell off. And bro, I haven't streamed in a while. Simmer down. Okay. Are we not watching Falcons get their ass kicked? Watching 100 Thieves. Every day moving forward is going to be like that. Well, last round of the half, going down already into a 4v4.
Ringo cry.
Also, great reposition here from Rain. Going in towards HUD alongside Agile. Wasn't holding on to it. Just sitting in the smoke. Back in good for one. Down goes the bomb in towards lobby.
You okay?
Bait switch, minute left on the clock. Owner, he's down right now.
No, Gunther, I know it didn't close. Don't do it. Don't do it.
There's no easy way to go in to recover this
there you
bomb
go.
whatsoever. Rain and Agile, each trying to kill their own in a 9-3.
I'm
half.
okay. I'm just cry.
They're coming back to FaZe to replace Jacob. Please don't do that. Please just, if FaZe is gonna, if FaZe
Gunther
is gonna
is
do whatever, just
locking
let him
into the
do it.
boss man position. He's in charge of the world now.
Yeah, just go. I don't know, dude.
I'm crying
Go
again.
pick up
Check on you
someone
in a
else.
minute. I want to see if he changes
Stop being
positions.
dicks.
And I haven't heard him move to lay down.
I'll be in FaZe disband.
I told you guys the floor shakes when
Yeah,
Ringo
see that?
walks through the
Makaze
house.
was with, who was it, like, Kason?
It's like living with a small dinosaur.
I mean, actually just swing on to side. And
Like,
figure
it's
out
quite
just
intense
over
when he's
your
like
Zero
walking close to you.
in the Matrix, dodging the bullets and getting bomb plants.
Otherwise, you're just aware of it. Otherwise, like, you really feel it. It's
Yeah,
funny.
the FaZe guy, yeah.
He's so big. I knew he was gonna get big, but
I
like,
feel like I have a wild. I don't know if it's like Roll Clash or whatever, but imagine Makaze went to FaZe and then
he's such a goober.
Navi got like frozen. Would that make sense? I feel like that's Roll Clash. Attempt to stick from Owner, gonna get taken off from Zero. It's trouble left standing, 6 HP in a dream.
I'm so curious.
And double
Whenever I
digits.
end up doing it,
Throwing a Thieves. Gonna be taking
what his
pistol at the turn
DNA
of the
test
half.
will be. What kind of dog are you?
Did buy out? I mean, I don't know.
I think his tummy is
There's more
just
work.
upset
That's what I
because
mean.
we
I
were
figured
so
it was
rushed
Roll Clash
today.
and stuff. It was just my random fucking guess. Falcons buyout antivirus big contract for Nib.
You're just go, 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 go.
Falcons should have just brought in fucking Nucleons.
Which does not always please go, go. It's been like that a handful of days in a row. Oopsies.
Post Singapore. Until post. What?
I feel like I've been like 10 steps behind since Saturday, which makes sense because change in
It's gonna be a
routine.
stack for 100 Thieves down towards Secret, and actually a 3-stack here for Basement Boys, and they're playing this
But
angle
now that I know
super
the error
passive.
with my phone, maybe I can wake up to my alarm
Just
properly.
gonna catch wind. I believe he saw 2. And
That would
finds
be
a third.
nice.
Able to find 2. Trade comes in from Sierra.
I'm gonna have to go back to the 2 physical alarm clock method soon,
Did chunk them away.
just to
But
make
right now,
sure.
up on A, Agile is just chilling on site, probably coming in for free. I think here's trouble in towards heaven as well. Gonna get spotted out, trying to bait them as well. They're all running outside. Rain takes down
That
trouble on the way
gives
in
me
from
such a
Secret.
headache.
Only fake
It's too
reality
far
was
up
standing
to
in
look.
1v4. It's not.
Oh, it's a
looking too hot for
little
Basement
more
Boys.
than
Also, it's
That's
not-
easier.
Shouldn't be.
Still
shouldn't
hurts
be
to put
another
my
down
neck
down
all the
for
way
Gordon
back, but I'm
saved.
getting like
Was just
every
on
few
that.
days a little bit more
That bites
range
into
of
CT.
motion or less tension. I'm
Taking
not
out
sure
another
which with
board.
it.
Nothing saved in for Basement Boys.
I do think
be
it'll
good
probably
for
be
FaZe,
easy to
I'm sure.
aggravate for the rest of my life. More than likely. But I'm glad that it's getting a little bit better in the short term. Or more tolerable.
Can we mod Sheffin? Oh, what's today? No. It'd be nice. Maybe tomorrow? Check back in tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow.
We love you, peeps. Trying to look for like a new interactive kind of toy
First
for
five
her.
coming in for Basement Boys right now. 3 MP9s, a Deke, and a Famas. Again.
Looked on Amazon. What might be a PetSmart? Even though PetSmart is stupid expensive. Although honestly, price comparison for what they have is similar to Amazon anyway. There's like a 1 cent difference. Cheaper if I buy canned cat food on Amazon versus buying it at PetSmart. But buying it at PetSmart, I'm not paying the shipping or whatchamacallit, which is nice. I got out one of the puzzle feeders for her, and she has 0 interest in it. It's kind of expensive. It's not the brand that I like. Maybe she would like another little tree soon. Do we have any unoccupied trees? Technically the one in the middle of the basement, but Kid and Slavka and Void really like that one. Void, I'm surprised by. I thought she would always be like a ground-dwelling girly, and instead she loves being on top of the cat tree. She's actually a high-dwelling girly. I don't know. But she might like one of these. There's different ones that are cheaper on Amazon. I forgot about that one. That's like the OG cat toy. The little just one ball spinner. Because she likes the tiny tree that the babies used to sit on top of. It has little marbles or whatever that go around in it. She has that chew toy. Because there's like 3 cat chew toys available. Oh, that's a neat one too. There's 2 of them. It's not a bad price either. Nothing really with feathers though. She's still too small for that. Sometimes you just want to eat, not do cat math. Like, she has her bowl. It's not like I'm keeping the food away from her and she has to work for it. I just thought she might like something that she can fuck around with and get a cookie out of. Apparently not. She does not care. She just gets bored with everything. Like, she has so much to interact with, but she gets bored so easily with all of her toys. This is cool if I can find one without feathers. She has the smaller version of that. Typical Gen Alpha. Yeah, she kind of is. Like, you have to switch her YouTube constantly, otherwise she stops caring. Which is also true, but conceptually as well. Oh, that's a cool thing. She would like chewing on that. Like, it's not like I don't play with her, but she gets bored with things. The exercise wheel. There we go. I mean, ignore the price tag, but PB the hamster. When she was a baby, I probably could have given her my rat wheel, but she was a little sick baby and she wouldn't have used it anyway. But she was still that tiny but healthy. She would probably be just fine on the rat wheel. Clyde was a big boy, you know, being a city rat versus a pet rat. He was on the bigger side. So we had the biggest rat wheel that we could find. Just imagine hooking that wheel up to a generator and PB powered streams from now on. Just gonna keep my lights running. We'll know when she's eeping because it'll just go dark. I think I'm gonna try one of these, but either the double one that was kind of cheaper here, or look for one on Amazon. Maybe one of those she'd like in the short term. Like, she's gonna get sick of it, so I have to think about things that everyone else would like too. Oh, that's neat. It's similar but different. It has like a tube. Oh no, that just shows that it opens. Never mind. Thought she could like cosplay as a hamster chaser or something. These cats are way more interested in this than mine. She just gets bored of like even me playing with her. She only wants to do string for so long now. And it's like,
trouble. I respect the riskier
you need to be mentally stimulated.
Crazy. Actually wasn't spotted.
Maybe she's going through a growth spurt and she's just more tired. Because I don't think she's being lethargic by any means. But maybe she's just less interested because she's growth spurting. Her tail is kind of long right now. Work out those zoomies for power, for the greater good. Contribute.
Holding it towards lobby will be
Don't be one more broke best friend. Get a job.
Speed up to regroup in with the rest of the team.
Just kidding. You don't have to work. She's going to be 23 weeks old tomorrow.
Trade turns into a 3v3.
My baby. My baby.
For one trade, device taking down trouble, and Fake Reality, last player standing.
Just getting angsty.
Nothing he can do. It's
kind
just
of.
Run away and save Big Leel in the util that he has.
She's certainly getting particular.
12 already.
She says, I demand to nurse on your face, Mom. It's just so weird. She's had no desire to do any kind of nursing. No signs of being weaned early, even though she kind of was. Like, how cats will, like, suckle into and while they're making biscuits on blankets. She's never done that.
No kid. I think
Today,
that's
out of nowhere, she was like, I'm gonna suckle on your face. Okay.
Really,
but she has teeth, so it hurts. She uses her teeth.
Maybe. I mean, they've just been forcing all the way through.
It's actually kind of weird now that I think about it. Chong's the only other one that, like, really loves to suckle on things, like, particularly me. When I'm holding him or, like, just laying with him like this, he'll do it on my shoulder, and he soaks my shirt. But he's so gentle about it. It's never with teeth.
Not holding on to that. Reality even taken down to 53 HP.
Whereas everyone else does it with teeth. That's interesting. Chong's just a sweet boy. Welcome, Just Chance. I hope you're having a lovely night so far. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the cult. It is... Oh, I bonked my light. Whatever you want it to be, baby. So choose your own adventure, and thank you for taking the time to be here tonight. I hope the start of the week has been kind to you.
Reposition in towards T-spawn right now. Other thieves are in towards CT. I think Trouble... You guys heard some footsteps. They're going up heaven right now, and they are hot on his trail. I don't think he's aware at all. Return to the situation. He's going to hold on to it. Will be met by 3. Oh, I mean, it's made so much noise. Deleted from Rain. Gonna find the opener into it. Front side, gonna be Fake Reality alongside Mangan.
Oh,
When Rain's trying to kill, it's just gonna be creamed to 1v4, and I think the Wallbang got the kill. Regardless, 100 Thieves taking map number 1 at 13 to 3. They went from like fucking 90th.
It's like
to
good
like
timing
top
split
40.
between two maps.
Electronic joins the team. They go to 40th, fucking to 90. Like that's all I'm trying to say. That's all I'm trying to say. That's all I'm trying to say.
Can't decide if I like this guy or not. Like, he's kind of interesting to listen to, but like also kind of not. But I'm assuming that he's like streaming this and talking to a chat. So like it makes sense that he's deviating from like commentary to commentating.
Quick attempt of a retake from just about everyone here from Basement Boys. The attempt from Moto.
It's interesting
Everyone's just gonna be holding close.
the difference my brain notices with it being live versus not. Because obviously it's the same occurrence watching a live stream.
The off angle from Zero kind of got the best of him. Hard D's gonna be taking pistol. I know it doesn't show.
I think probably the biggest difference is just not seeing chat in real time, so there's like no context to the extra bits.
And Liberty just only did.
That would probably make the most sense. Gunther, are you still in charge? Yes.
But this whole time, like from what it just seems like, is BC just using it as a marketing ploy. Like I don't, and like that's just throw money at it, make sure Simple's on the lineup to have his face, and then bang. Zero able to find two. Megan was able to find the kill on the Zero, but the pistols are just going to get farmed away. Nothing bought into this round either for Basement Boys.
It's very few solo casters that you like. I feel like when there are two, they fill the void better. Yeah, it's nice to hear them bounce off of each other. Which, I mean, he's kind of accomplishing the same, bouncing off chat, but it's not another physical voice. I just wanted to see what was happening. I don't care that he's talking about it, but I can't, like... I guess I could just mute the whole thing and, like... move the window out, but... that feels like I'm discrediting someone else's content. I don't fucking know what our best practices. I don't know. I do my best. I do my best. I think it's been a couple months though that Rain's been on 100 Thieves, and I haven't caught a single moment of any of their gameplay. Which honestly, this isn't really my favorite kind of gameplay. It's strategized versus just running and gunning, which I like. I like brutal gameplay. This really isn't my favorite, but I'm morbidly curious. Morbidly curious.
It is going to be an exec attempt over towards B. There is Agile lurking a bit right
now. I thought about that when I woke up earlier. I'm like, oh my god, because I was pulling up the other two matches on YouTube. Welcome, Midnight Dynamite. I hope the day's been kind to you so far. Happy start to the week. Oh, and then they finally came up on an HLTV cast when I was scrolling through to see what I was missing or like what was tomorrow, whatever. And I was like, dang, I forgot about that. I forgot I wanted to see this. Out of sight, out of mind.
So much damage done from Device.
Aw, thank you. Basketball of smooches for the bibbies. Throwing two over to Zeke and Gunther at the moment. They can share the third. Disperse it. Not just direct throw. Disperse.
Christ, answer. What answer?
Tomorrow I want to play some Star Wars. I don't know if I want to play more Sith or back into Jedi. I'm not sure. When I was doing different character levelings in Neverwinter, I did one character on Twitch days and then another character like whenever I wanted to stream it just on Kick. So maybe we'll do that. Which is nice because they're different storylines too, versus Neverwinter is the same storyline, so it's essentially just playing the same game twice. GG's, Serena. But it made sense in my head, so we might do that for Tuesday game day. But Thursday, because I'm a liar and I didn't do it today. Thursday, cosplay.
Last two players standing, Fake Reality and Owner just towards top mid. Sierra, I'm assuming, finds them both maybe. I don't even.
Whatever else we decide to do.
Right now. Wait, this timing's brutal because Device is bomb lower mid, but swing in, gonna spot him out, gonna find them both, just cleaning him away. Things going. I don't even know what that is.
Only ended up
By
doing a
backing for
couple of
Basement Boys, they're
storylines
off in the
back when
hands
you
of trouble.
played. I feel like you'd have to be
I'm
really
stuck for an
dedicated to the
element,
game.
boys,
Like,
but
there's a
if I can
lot
do
of
something in the air for
different
them.
character traits and classes, and I would
Finding
assume
opening, there was no
they
trade,
all
but
have
up here
different
as well.
storylines.
As
Maybe
Magic
some of
Arms
them
get on
overlap,
game,
but
I'm trying to work my magic
you'd
for
have to
them.
be very dedicated to that
Swinging
game
late from trouble, but a
with
missed
a
shot.
lot of
You'll
free
confine
time
the kill
to be able to
onto
play
him.
through probably more than a
That's
few
what
of
I
them.
say. It's gonna be a save here for Owner and Megan, and they're already calling it off. They're just tucking back away over on the B side.
I'll admit I'm a
That's
bit
unfortunate
intimidated
start for
by
them
it,
yet
but
again.
I'm
I mean,
also excited by how much there is to do in game.
Tough enough losing map 1, but then already
Even if
starting
it's
at a
just
5-0
traveling and
deficit.
admittedly
Map two.
getting
They're also
lost.
the hunt coming in for 100 Thieves. Their money stacked up pretty healthily.
I spend like an hour lost every single night. I start setting like a click timer, like pause and start for whenever I'm lost, and clock my actual lost time for the night.
Shit.
That would be interesting. You can pause and start the iPhone timer.
Pressure's on.
I feel like I would remember to actually press a button versus tapping a screen.
It's like watching a polar bear eat a seal.
I'm really glad we
Randomly
kind of
turn on
rediscovered
National
that on
Geographic, and then it's just
a
like,
little whim
a polar bear in nature,
and jumped back into it.
in its natural habitat.
I really don't know if I'm just like
Look at how
starting
this
in a
is
better
the
storyline or
seal
more
cub swimming away.
coherent storyline for me, or if I've improved in gaming, or what the case is. But I'm doing a lot better with it than I did before, and I really am enjoying it. I liked it before, but I just plain sucked. Now I can mostly
There's an HE thrown from top mid on creep. This
get
is a
through
5
how much I
stack
suck.
Base Boys in towards Banana. They have the right call for the
I don't know
stack
what
here.
the change is for the catalyst of that.
I mean,
the
unfortunately,
catalyst
way
for the
able to find
change
Rain
of that,
grabbing one,
rather.
Rita in trouble. Last one
Makes me
standing.
curious.
Okay, Creep is just dead in the smoke. Trouble hard cleared as well. It's good for 1. It's here on the trade. A 6 on the board for 100 Thieves. Rain just smiling. In a Joel Lemon nature show.
I keep thinking that beep. Is that beeping outside? No, it's not. It sounds like a car horn that I hear often, and it's been bugging me.
Teeing up for the second half.
Almost all of my neighbors are very in the camp of, we're not going to knock on your door, we're just going to pull up in front and...
They're getting better.
It's so fucking
Here
annoying.
does look normal.
And then my neighbors next door, when they're doing like baby daddy swap, drop off, whatever, oh my god, he lays on the horn. Like, shut the f... We heard you the first time.
They just need to bait out as much time as possible. And are they pulling back through the smoke to go? I thought they were going for the Busan flower.
Oh, it annoys me and stresses me out all at once, because it's like, you're annoying me. You're subjecting a child to this, like... Have some fucking class, you ass. Whether you're an ass or not, you're being an ass.
Smoke open, shot between the leg on
It's very...
It's just gonna be missed. This is the save. This is the attempt to grab the up. And they're out of there.
I do appreciate the observance of improvement.
I'll remember.
It's very interesting. I don't feel like I've improved at all, but I feel like I've gotten better at picking out patterns, which I guess is improvement. I don't know. I think we see the same thing, just in different ways. It is not the typical shooter, indeed. It's all that wizard's practice. It's just a different play style, and maybe it seems a little bit different. Extra so, like how I'm playing to all of us, because it's not what we usually play. But maybe I have more of a natural propensity, like 1%edly, towards an MMORPG versus a shooter. But I thoroughly enjoy shooters more, so it doesn't really matter. But maybe somewhere inside, I'm just slightly more adept with those minus maps. Although understanding maps now does kind of help versus any of my attempts at anything in the past. Pretty center of the earth style thinking. Yeah.
Falling
It's
till
just
100 views playing a real tourney?
stupid.
I'm assuming
I have a
doing
low
like
tolerance
PTL
for
Blast
stupidity.
or ESL.
For better or for worse, I do. I will say though, I saw someone do an awesome complete stop at the stop signs again today, and it was very nice. It was very nice.
Go this downtime inside of attack pause.
Credit the Doom maps to your now map prowess, to my cartography degree. I would agree with that. I think I had some like mapping practice in our Wolfenstein era, and then like map proficiency developed within the next era of Doom. I don't even remember if there's a map in the PDA in 3. I don't think I ever used the map because I sucked at maps. I just ignored instead of learning maps for all of these years, I just ignored their existence.
I don't know if they're doing that.
And assumed that I could figure it out.
You had light? You had what?
That was my solution.
Good, Austin.
That's so stupid.
Wait, Austin, are you going to
But it wasn't fun to learn, so I wasn't willing to learn, and I refused to work hard at games in the sense of like to the detriment of my level of fun. The most American thing you can do. Yep. Turn a blind eye.
When do you get there? Hold on. The follow-up question. Can you? No, Royal.
Figure it out myself.
Get there Thursday. Okay.
Do you have a drinky or is that a sparkling water? I don't think you would be allowed to have a drinky. I don't know where they're playing though. Wherever the Parkin Challenger Championship is. Say that 5 times fast.
Not really your particular
Challenger
reason,
Championship.
Going up Tuesday.
Copenhagen.
Stream live.
Denmark. I don't know what you're allowed to do or not.
Going up on Tuesday? No, there actually isn't a reason I'm going up early. I'm literally just going up early to pull up early.
Play.
Don't forget, you promised an airplane stream. I'm not streaming from the fucking airplane.
Play. Someone, I think on Kick, I came across it while I was sleepy in my Doom Scrolls.
Is there 100?
Streamed from a hot air balloon. Let me see if I can find it on Twitter again. I know I didn't bookmark it, but
I need to make fucking content while I'm there and make it
it
useful.
can't be hard to search for. Like that's a very
for a trading card. Oh fuck, they do
new
that shit.
thing.
Huckins almost went to OT in map 2 against 9C. 9C good team.
I think it was on Kick.
No. You're playing Spirit? No.
Latest.
I'm flying Delta.
I don't see it.
Oh wait, Spirit's out of business.
Oh wait, they captioned the clip as like first stream in space.
I didn't
Because they went up like above the clouds.
Hey. Anyways, 07 start here. Austin shot it, but I'll get hold of it.
I can't find it. It was cool though.
Fly Frontier.
It already scrolled back to last month. I don't know how to find that again.
Oh well, I can't really say much. I guess I haven't really.
It was very neat.
Played in a long ass time.
Hot air balloon is neat, but a lot noisier than you expect.
I never really were in like the Northeast to begin with.
I don't think I could ever go up in one, but I imagine it would be because it has to, like catch all the air and put it up through like the fire biddy or however it works.
Wait.
It's like a suction-y sound, I would think.
Big reality, able to get a 2K to open up this round. Trade in from Rain.
How tall are you? 5'3" and 3/4.
Playing right on the edge of the smoke. This timing from Drum.
3/4 matters.
The kill on a device owner getting Rain. Bomb drop top towards top mid.
I don't think I could ever go up in a hot air balloon.
Down he goes.
I would get nervous looking down. I'm pretty okay with heights, but I feel like the uncertainty of like everything in that position and not being in control of it, I have no desire to learn how to operate a hot air balloon. I would freak out looking down because I'm a control freak.
With the resub, appreciate it, go.
It's not suction, but the blower, which is the fire biddy, is loud. Oh, okay. It's manufactured air. It doesn't just.
Something like that. Something like that.
I knew it worked. I just didn't know how.
Oops, I thought Trouble was about to get the flick off, but
No,
taking
knowing
over
me,
the
I
device.
would still fuck it up, even if there's not much to operate. It just goes up and down. I'd pull the wrong puller.
It's looking like a brutal round already.
Pull the lever, Kronk!
No rotating just yet,
And then I'd pull the wrong one.
towards the B site.
It'd be the end of the world. That makes me nervous just thinking about it. I don't want to be in charge of something that...
Hold on, bombs and T
That's
spawn.
something-y.
Wait a second. Bombs and T spawn gets spotted
I
out
don't
right
need
now.
that.
It's the attempt to come back and fight Fake Reality, taking down range device can help.
That's too much.
There's
I
no
have
reason to
nightmares
cross
about
around you
hot air
towards
balloon
Banana.
operations now.
Yeah, so I got device playing ahead of things. I do find a creep
Hopefully
that
not.
comes
That'd be a
out.
weird
Device
dream.
Megan able to find two. The spam through the smoke. So much damage done. There's 37
Sheesh.
seconds. That HE should probably kill. No, 0 3 HP in a dream.
I don't think they could make an insurance policy big enough for my operational
super quick. The timing here from Mangan. The
proficiencies.
wide angle to run in. Poi able to find the kill. I don't know why he pulled back so far away. I know
That's
he
just
wanted to
being
play off this
honest.
smoke disperse, but Bomb was so far tucked in.
Hey,
Banana.
thank you for the follow.
That early
Welcome
run.
to the club. Welcome to the cult. It is whatever you want it to be, baby. It's a choose your own adventure, and thank you for taking the time to be here tonight. I hope the week is starting
Yeah,
off
I mean,
kindly
it's just a
for
weird
you.
situation, I guess. Maybe. Like maybe he thought someone would
And
push
this
all the
year,
way
the
through
finest of
towards
Voldemort
GP or some
days.
shit. I don't know. That was just weird. It was like a round we saw earlier when it was 100 Thieves versus AGC on Ancient when AGC left bomb in towards B main and fully cleared site. We got the opener takedown for Yuta. It's only Fake Reality left standing up towards A. The spam continues. Nico for one.
I have this highlight. Oh,
They're
it's
already
a
inside
search
mini
where
pit. They're locking it down at the site.
Copenhagen.
The save coming in for Basement Boys. 100 Thieves looking to grab themselves a ninth. Assuming a little bit of a hunt comes in as well.
It's where they travel to, and
Save simulator? Oh, no. Good map. Good map.
I think season
Staying.
5 or 6 of Weeds.
Just have to go for a little bit of a hunt.
Cute.
Coming in, Zira, good for the kill on owner. My device was going through with the up there. He does get taken out. He can rebuy it back into this if he wants it. Inferno over Mirage and Tusk 2.
I think it's gonna rain tomorrow. I forgot. I
Look,
meant to
think
check the
number one
weather
thing,
this
and I think we
afternoon.
can all kind of agree with it at this point.
12 hours later.
Inferno as a map,
It's gonna be chilly the next couple days
the
at night, I
watchability
think.
factor doesn't become a problem until there's so many saves. Like the retake ability is the part that sucks so much about this. Like I would like
A
Inferno
little
if it
rainy,
wasn't so
but
shit.
later.
Like that's like the one thing.
Like, very low chance.
Play Inferno more than watching it. I mean, I like playing Inferno. I don't like watching Inferno, but that's just because like my logics aren't that good and like, well like.
Be
attempt for
really
Motor, which is
rainy the
definitely
rest of the
taken out
week.
for Poi. Again, he's
Bah.
left in a 1v3 and
Do
he
not
wants to give it a go. Like I don't maybe blame him, but at the same time, next round, last round of the half, I use Dave. That's it. But also, Inferno produced the most overtime games out of any map. I mean, Inferno also produces the most amount of saves. Again, able to get the kill on Azira. AK picked up. Is getting hunted. Oh, I thought getting hunted down from Poi, but we actually just running away.
Strategic.
Doesn't want to give them maybe more money. He's gonna end with a max of like 2 round more. What from Basement Boys?
Da boys. I'm at the Stream Room Boys team.
What?
SRB.
Last round and a half coming in. The pie at least good for Basement Boys.
Gunther and Z
Off of
cooked
the
up
boards,
to, like,
just rifles here for them.
the
They
mind
do get to
control
work with.
Gaming. You do different things, like when you blink or move your head or whatever.
Until's gonna be pretty early in towards Banana. No one moving forward yet for 100 Thieves either.
There's some viral video of, I think, defeating the Elden Ring boss.
Hanging taken out. Owner does answer back from bar, able to find 2, and Fake
That was
Reality
cool
here to help
too.
him as well. An advantage here for Basement Boys. Maybe he can find himself his second. going to be good. Owner spam can find Sierra and finds a kill on a boy. Last bullet's coming through. It's Agile left in a 1v3. So comes in trying to run ahead of things. Actually finds that kill on Owner to open up the B site. Bomb can get planted. In a 1v2 post plant situation, Agile no util, 51 points of health.
That's ambitious.
There's no shot. He's just okay. A for effort, but Basement Boys. Basement Boys able to put their second round on the board there. Just. Translate. This individual form has been looking great compared to the start of it. I agree.
Play.
I think just needs good system with this good play style.
Play.
The thing is,
Play.
I mean,
Play.
he's not going to be at the peak performance we ever have seen him at. I will say it was.
Have any desire to play Elder Ring, Dark Souls, or any of those? Not really.
I will say too.
Conceptually, I think they would be so much fun, but I think they're honestly games that I would have more fun watching someone else play than attempting myself.
Like it's been a minute since I've watched.
Because they're so difficult and involved. I think they would just be above my pay grade.
And like, I don't know if Ascend will put up.
And I think it would ultimately lead to me just not liking the game, which I wouldn't want.
I'm like 90% sure I saw Horror.
I don't know. I haven't tried. That might not be the case.
I don't even know. But
I feel like they're just a little, above my pay grade.
Rain getting Owner inside of the smoke was trouble. He did find a kill on a device, but he's left in a 1v5 clutch, and Bomb is over at Car. I think he's just trying to fight forward, get some of these kills. He's able to find a second. Agile going to be the only player on site. Just playing contact at this point.
Latest form. My final form. We have a Dragon Ball Z character. Haven't played them either. Elder Ring is supposed to be fairly approachable. I don't know. I'm scared.
When it first happened, I've honestly not really heard or seen from them since. There's been a lot of disappointing results. Actually, vice versa.
They're so pretty though. Like I think my brain would genuinely enjoy watching someone play it.
There's an open qual and they
like watching it like it's a movie. Versus even attempting it myself. Like it would lose the magic of it. Dark Souls certainly had a reputation. Is that the one with the screen of you died?
Losing a best of one versus Nip. Knocked down to lower bracket, and then won a best of 3 versus Bessie, and then a best of 3 versus Nip to make it into playoffs. So
weird out the casuals.
Second at Draculan.
I don't know if that one's for me.
So they had a pretty impressive start.
Give me like 10 more years. Let me practice some more. Then ask me.
That's what you're saying. It's gonna be.
Servers would be offline by then.
Walking through the smoke.
As the one that you died screen. I thought so. I think you guys corrected me on that. Or I brought it up like speculatively when we were setting up the PC. I think that's when I got learned. Reminds you of when, partially to prove a point, you uploaded yourself playing RDR2. RDR2. Love dyslexia. Just a series that people could watch, especially non-gamers. That's neat. Like creating a little storyline. That's fun.
You can imagine. Will they play more today? The winner of this will not have another matchup today. It will be tomorrow. The loser of this matchup will have.
I don't know, some games, whether like how violent they are or not, are just relaxing to watch.
Versus MTX.
Like really, truly, one of my best memories growing up is just watching my dad play video games. He was pretty good, pretty proficient. Definitely didn't always have fun with it. A lot of goddammits. But it's so much fun. You're watching a movie for like hours. And cheering along with the process. It's nice. Maybe that's why once I discovered tourneys, like Counter-Strike, I got really, not like obsessed, but like, it calls to me. It calls to me. RDR2 is close to R2D2. That's exactly what I was thinking as I was reading it, and I was like, oh my god, you have to get this right, Serena. Don't scramble it around. And then the D became do. Or dough. I don't know. I suck at Cuphead. I was kind of, well, not encouraged, but like suggested to try it, but also told that like it was incredibly difficult and I would suck, and that was true. It wasn't fun at all. I did not play long at all. It was not good. It was not good. It doesn't bother me to watch it. I just can't physically play it, if that makes sense. Like, I can't be the one doing it. But outside of that, I understand that it's just normal gameplay. Isn't that weird? The psychosis of it all. I'm not good at side-scrollery games, and I find no joy in them. That's why I don't play them. Sometimes the format of the game, no matter how good it is or how good the storyline it is, I just really can't vibe with it too much. I'm picky. I only play what I like. It's a bit of a play in trying something more fun after the Dark Souls idea. That's just like adding insult to injury. It's difficult to difficulty. But in such different ways. Oh my goodness. Cuphead is so pretty though. I wish I had never tried it and only watched people play it. They both have a similar reputation. Cuphead is difficult. Like, even if you're really, really good, I feel like it's difficult. I think part of it being so difficult is how, like, so visually appealing it is, though. It distracts you while you're attempting focus, at the very least. It's distracting. Oh, I wanted to look. Forgot. What was it called? Let's just be generic. This is the squeaky toy song. Alright, is the sort filter up here? Yes. I'm ashamed. I only know how to do things on mobile. See what Peebs would like. Oh, no offense to Doc, but I gotta start buying these on Amazon. They're like $1 each there, where this is like a pack of many for $4. Oh, it's like a little dream catcher. PB can't have feathers yet, though. I'm afraid she'll eat them. It freaks me out. And carrot kickers, those are neat. Oh, those are chew toys, too. She might like something like that. How do you go away? What did I just do? I don't want to see that. Go away. Okay. Don't go away. Oh, little baby. The cat is comically small to scale. What is so special about this dinosaur that it's everywhere? My goodness. That one's feathery. Interactive whack-a-mole. Feathered, yes. That has feathers on it too. She would chew that butterfly. Dogs are the worst. That's hilarious. Dogs are the worst. It's funny as fuck. I'm putting my own leg to sleep now. Sheesh. Wake up. Maybe it's just the way I sit. Gunther, I can't even blame you anymore. Oh man. These are cool, the ones that hang off of doorways. I was thinking about one of those for her. It's feathery though. Probably just bend a coat hanger and then do a long string, only while observed, then tie a toy to the end of it. We can probably DIY that, honestly. See if she likes the concept. What are these called? Colorful fun tubes. Okay. Now we know. I thought it would be something a much more complex name than that. Apparently not. What will amuse PB? What is this? It's a full-on, like, interactive wand. Kinda looks like Tigra's toy. That's not bad. That'd be cool to try. To consider. It's nighttime. I'm not hitting checkout. I'm just cart hoarding. Think they're Einstein Rosenbridge? What would be? Little baby Einstein kitty toys. That was like such a weird but like neat concept. My godmother's sister went hard into that with when her two boys were born. Like with both of them, and it's like weird. But a cool thing, but like weird. How about the dinosaur toy? Oh, the tubes. Interactive cat tubes. I thought they would have like a stupid name, but a much more named name than just that. The ribbon toy, the traumatized tank. Now Tank likes string toys, but they really sketched him out at first. He was like, oh fuck, it's the end of the world. How is there like so much but so little? Oddballs. She's even kind of over the shooter ball gun. Must figure out how to amuse the bean. Can't picture Tankers as a scared boy. It was very interesting and strange to see him in that kind of pose, but he got really like sketched out by it. He did not like that for... He probably got used to it within like, or started enjoying it within a couple months of being in his whole bedroom situation. Like out of the bathroom finally. But in the bathroom it was scary. We did not like that. It was very scary. He would just like cower and it was sad. But probably instinctively, I mean, if there's like a bird flying over you or like a predator swooping over you, like you're gonna hunker. You're not just gonna sit there and take it. But he was so like overstimmy and silly and interesting. I thought he would love chasing toys, but not yet. He does now, but it took him a while. He had to learn that string toy was safe. String toy is friend, not foe. Like what I tell Diesel and Ringo when we see the burbs and the squirrels. Friends, not food. That's it. What was the other one called? probably a best guess of what a search query would be. There's replacement pads for it. If you take me to the actual thing, will just take me to more concepts of things. Like this one, now show me more. I think the one at PetSmart was actually the cheapest. Oh, there's a mousey. She might find that interesting. Keep it in our back pocket. I think this one was less than 20 on at Petco. PetSmart. Petco, where the pets go, and PetSmart for the dumb girls, because I always call it Petco. It's just in habit. I mostly went to Petco prior to my PetSmarting now. Ad for the cat. It's like a baby voya. Which picture of that cat? There. This one. No. That one. Let me add it. Let me have it. It's so funny. That's so cute. That cat is sending me. Which means it's probably EP time. That looks neat though. Temporarily out of stock. It's okay, that gives me time to decide. Yeah, past there, but we're leaving that open for safety reasons anyway. Alright, Club Gold, it is time for the Feed the Zoos and the Eeps. Thank you all for a wonderful night. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your chats. Thank you for your support. And thank you for your company. More than anything, thank you for your time. Whether it's for 2 seconds, 2 minutes, 2 hours, or see you again for 2 years. My times collide is beautiful, magical, amazing, and wonderful. I'm very grateful, girly. Your time is not free. And I appreciate you, BBs. It was wonderful to see you, Cygenics. Thank you for being here tonight. Midnight Dynamite, I appreciate all the smooches too. To disperse to the zoo beans. Thank you, thank you. I will take care of me if you all take care of yous. It includes babying yourselves if you get the schniffles too. Thank you for being here tonight, the Mad Topher. I appreciate you. Club Gold, you are wonderful human beings. If Bebs want to keep up with me offline, hop into the Disky Boo. Otherwise, we got the fun stuff. The socials. Some more fun stuff. Oh, Batrix, you're a little eepy tonight. A little slow tonight, huh? Maybe. The sketch run, I will see you, Bebs, next. Thank you all for being a part of the Stream the Dreams project. It warms my little Z-Milfy heart. And thank you all for your help with Mr. Voya Bean's outstanding care costs. I'm very grateful, girly. It means a lot. Know that everyone cares about him as much as I did. It's very special, and I appreciate you all. Do me one favor until I see you next, and that is, remember that you are wonderful, amazing, incredible, kind, spectacular, fantastic, phenomenal, and all the good things in the world. Also gorgeous. Take all those compliments and put them in your back pocket, your side pocket, your cute little hoodie pocket, your adorable little shirt pocket, floating in suspended animation wherever it needs to go. Till I see you next, you sweet babos. Get some good eats, get some good eeps, make good choices. For the most part, don't do anything I wouldn't do. And for the next one, I shall see you. Canadian Nightclub Gold, thank you for just chilling tonight. You guys are wonderful. Wonderful. Simply wonderful.